trying to keep up with LG these days, it really feels
Yeah,
like a full-time job, doesn't it? It's just constantly changing and evolving.
it is. And trying to figure out, like, what's actually important, what we should really be paying attention to.
Right. Like, how do we get past the hype and get to the real substance without drowning in a sea of information?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to try to do
That's about,
today.
we're going to dive deep,
Mm.
like really deep, into this report from University 365.
Spain's AI landscape in March 2025.
Yeah, it's fascinating. This report basically takes a comprehensive look at Spain's strategic positioning in the global AI scene.
You know, a lot of folks might not realize it, but Spain is quietly becoming a real force in AI.
I know, right? It's kind of amazing. And what we're going to do today is extract the most important insights from this really thoroughly researched report.
So that you don't have to. We've done the hard work for you.
Absolutely. To help us navigate this fascinating landscape, we have Professor Anna with us. She's a University 365 expert who knows this report inside and out. So let's start at the very beginning. When did Spain first get serious about AI? I mean, we always hear about the US and China, but Spain.
Right. Well, you know, Spain's formal entry into the AI arena was maybe a little bit later compared to some of those big players.
Okay.
But, and this is the key thing, once they decided to get involved, they moved really fast.
Hmm.
A major turning point was the announcement of their first national AI strategy back in 2020.
Ah,
And this wasn't just some vague plan, they backed it up with serious money. An initial investment of 600 million euros for the period between 2021 and 2023.
600 million. Wow. That's a
Oh.
pretty clear signal of intent right there.
Yeah.
What were the main things they were hoping to achieve with this strategy?
Well, their goals were very much focused on using AI for the benefit of their society, boosting employment opportunities, improving healthcare, and this is a really crucial one, making sure that the Spanish language played a central role in AI development.
Oh, that's interesting. So not just adopting AI, but actually shaping it from a linguistic and cultural perspective.
Exactly. They understand that language is power, especially when it comes to AI.
Makes sense.
A great example of this is the Maria project. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I think I have. It rings a bell.
Yeah, so Maria was Spain's first massive AI system specifically for the Spanish language. It was a huge undertaking.
How so?
Well, just imagine the scale. This AI system was trained on over 135 billion words. Think about that for a second. 135 billion words, all taken from the National Library's web archive.
Whoa. That's like, what, an AI reading every book ever written in Spanish?
Pretty much. And the result of all this was that Spanish became the third language globally after English and Mandarin, with massive open access AI models.
So a major statement in terms of technological sovereignty.
Absolutely. It was a deliberate move to ensure that Spanish speakers wouldn't be left behind in the AI revolution.
So focusing on language was clearly a key priority. What other things did they do to lay the groundwork for AI development?
Well, another really important area was investment in supercomputing infrastructure. You need massive computing power to train these sophisticated AI models.
Right.
And Spain made a big commitment in this area, particularly with the Mare Nostrum series of supercomputers. These have been crucial for enabling cutting-edge AI research.
So they were thinking long-term right from the start, building the foundation.
Exactly. Okay, so let's fast forward now to March 2025, which is the time frame of our report. What does the AI landscape in Spain look like now? Has all this early effort started to bear fruit?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's happened.
Well, one of the most striking things is how collaborative the AI ecosystem has become. You have government agencies, research institutions like the Barcelona Supercomputing Center, universities, and private companies all working
A
together.
real team effort.
Yeah, very much so.
And is that collaboration translating into real-world adoption of AI by Spanish businesses?
It is. In fact, by March 2025, 36% of Spanish companies reported that they had adopted AI technologies.
36%, that's a pretty big number.
It is, especially considering that just 2 years earlier, in 2023, that number was only 7%. So a 29% increase in just 2 years. It shows that things are moving really fast.
That's huge. You mentioned the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. What role does it play in all of this?
The BSC has become the heart of Spain's AI efforts. It coordinates national language model initiatives, and, importantly, it's home to the Mare Nostrum 5 supercomputer, which is one of the most powerful in Europe.
So it's a key player not just in Spain, but on the European stage as well.
Absolutely. And I think it reflects Spain's overall approach, which is to develop their own AI capabilities while also collaborating with others.
That's a smart strategy. Openness and collaboration, but also self-reliance.
Exactly.
So how does Spain's level of AI adoption compare to the rest of the EU? Are they ahead, behind, or about average?
Well, the report indicates that Spain is right on par with the EU average. About 8% of non-financial companies with more than 10 employees are using AI, so they're right in the mix.
Okay, so they're competitive? One thing that really struck me in the report was this phrase, Spain is committed to democratizing access to cutting-edge AI. What does that actually mean in practice? How are they doing that?
That's a really important point. Unlike some other countries where AI development might be dominated by a few big tech giants, Spain has consciously chosen a different path.
Interesting. So spreading the benefits of AI more broadly.
Exactly. They're investing heavily in public infrastructure, promoting open source development, and making sure that the benefits of AI are accessible to a wider range of people and organizations. It's
Yeah.
about technological inclusion.
I like that, making sure AI doesn't just benefit the privileged few.
Right. And this approach is reflected in the government's funding priorities as well.
Let's talk about that. The report mentions the Artificial Intelligence Strategy 2024 and a pretty significant budget.
Yeah, so this strategy represents a major stepping up of Spain's commitment to AI. We're talking about a total budget of 1.5 billion euros.
Wow. 1.5 billion. On top of the initial 600 million, that's serious money. Where's all this funding going?
Well, it's being spread across a variety of different initiatives. For example, in January of 2025, Prime Minister Sanchez announced 150 million euros in subsidies to help companies integrate AI into their operations. There was also a 67 million euro co-investment in a company called Multiverse Computing, which is working on AI compression technologies.
AI compression, what's that all about?
Basically, it's about making AI models smaller and more efficient so they can run on less powerful hardware.
Ah, okay. So making AI more accessible.
Exactly. And they've also allocated 90 million euros for specialized clusters to enhance the capabilities of the Mare Nostrum 5 supercomputer. And there's 50 million euros specifically for AI in healthcare, which is part of a larger pool of over 200 million euros from European funds.
It sounds like they're really putting their money where their mouth is.
They are, and the report makes it clear that this public funding is meant to build the foundational elements that might not be attractive to private investors. Things like language technologies and computing infrastructure. It's about creating a fertile ground for innovation.
Laying the groundwork for the future.
Exactly.
And it's not just about the money.
Yeah.
The report also talks about Spain's approach to regulating AI. What's their stance on that?
Well, they've taken a pretty proactive approach, which is interesting. For example, there's a proposed royal decree on extended collective licensing for copyright in AI model development. This is aimed at addressing the thorny issue of how to use copyrighted material to train AI models while still protecting intellectual property rights.
That's a tough one. Balancing innovation with copyright protection.
It is, but it shows that they're really thinking carefully about the ethical and legal implications of AI.
Taking a human-centered approach.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's dive into some of the flagship projects that are really pushing AI innovation forward in Spain. ALI seems to be a big one.
Yeah, ALI is a really exciting initiative. It's described as Europe's first public, open, and multilingual AI infrastructure.
So not just for Spain, but for all of Europe.
That's right. It's a collaborative effort coordinated by the Barcelona Supercomputing Center and the Secretary of State for Digitalization and Artificial Intelligence, or SEDIA. And one of the key goals of ALA is to develop advanced language models that support not just Spanish, but also Spain's other official languages.
Like Catalan, Basque, Galician.
Exactly.
So again, that emphasis on linguistic diversity.
Right. And the most advanced outcome of ALA so far is ALA 40B, which is considered to be Europe's most powerful public multilingual foundational model. It has 40 billion parameters.
40 billion parameters. That's a mind-boggling number. What does that even mean?
Well, think of parameters as the building blocks of the AI's knowledge. More parameters generally means a more capable model.
Okay, so more parameters, smarter AI. Got it.
Basically. And ALA 40B was trained for over 8 months on the Mare Nostrum 5 supercomputer using a massive data set of 6.9 billion tokens, which are like the basic units of language that the AI processes, across 35 different European languages. The total size of the training data was 33 terabytes, which is the equivalent of about 17 million books.
Wow, that's an insane amount of data.
It is. And what sets ALA or AA apart from many other large language models is that it's 100% publicly funded, it's developed with a strong emphasis on transparency, and it's designed to align with the EU AI regulation.
So a truly European alternative that prioritizes ethical considerations.
Exactly.
And all of this is powered by the Nostrum 5 supercomputer, which has recently been upgraded.
Yeah, Mare Nostrum 5 is really the engine driving Spain's AI ambitions. It's been upgraded to over 450 petaflops of processing power, which is just phenomenal.
450 petaflops, I don't even know what that means, but it sounds
Yeah.
impressive. So how is all this power being used beyond just academic research?
Well, one of the things that makes Spain's approach so interesting is that they've committed to dedicating 20% of Mare Nostrum 5's capacity for use by industry.
So they're making sure that this incredible resource benefits the wider economy.
Exactly. It's helping Spanish companies, especially smaller ones, to access the computing power they need to develop their own AI applications.
That's a great example of how they're trying to democratize access to AI.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about the infrastructure and the strategy. Let's talk about some real-world examples of how AI is actually being used in Spain. The report mentions healthcare as a key area.
Yeah, healthcare is a big one. Spain has a really strong public healthcare system, and they're seeing AI being used in everything from diagnostics to personalized medicine.
Can you give us a specific example?
Sure. One interesting example is a partnership between a company called Okin and a research foundation called IRYSIS. They're using AI to optimize the treatment of prostate cancer. The goal is to use AI to analyze patient data and figure out which patients would benefit most from certain therapies, even if those therapies aren't typically used for their stage of the disease.
So using AI to make treatments more precise and effective.
Exactly. And they're doing it with a strong focus on data privacy and ethical data governance, which is really important.
Definitely. Beyond healthcare, what about the broader economic impact of AI in Spain? Is it having a noticeable effect?
It is. The report suggests that if current trends continue, AI could add about 55 billion euros to Spain's gross added value by 2030. That's a significant boost.
55 billion. Wow. So a real economic engine.
It could be. And the government is actively promoting this growth. We mentioned earlier the 150 million euro subsidy program for AI integration in companies. There's also a 24 million euro initiative to promote AI and data use in small and medium-sized enterprises.
So making sure everyone benefits, not just the big players.
Exactly. And it's not just about the economic impact either. The report also highlights some really interesting creative and cultural applications of AI in Spain.
Oh, like what?
Well, in November 2023, the RTVE Symphony Orchestra actually performed a piece of music that had been composed entirely by AI.
Really? An AI composer. How did that go over?
Well, the audience reaction was mixed, according to the report, but it's a fascinating example of how Spain is exploring the creative potential of AI.
It makes you wonder where things are headed.
It does. And of course, we can't forget about the role of language. Spain's commitment to linguistic diversity through projects like LAA is also really important from a cultural perspective.
Keeping those languages alive and relevant in the digital age.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's step back for a minute and look at the big picture. What would you say are Spain's main strengths in the global AI landscape?
Well, they have several. First, they have world-class supercomputing infrastructure with Mare Nostrum 5. Second, they're leading the way in multilingual AI, particularly for Spanish and its co-official languages. Third, they have a very progressive stance on open data. Fourth, they have really strong public-private collaboration. And finally, they have a strategic, geographic, and cultural position as a bridge to Latin America.
So, a lot going for them. But of course, no country is without its challenges. What are some of the hurdles that Spain still needs to overcome in the AI space?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is the skills gap. There's a real shortage of people with the skills needed to develop and implement AI. And this is something that a lot of companies are struggling with.
Yeah, the talent shortage is a global issue, not just in Spain.
It is. And another challenge is knowledge barriers. A lot of companies simply don't know enough about AI or how to integrate it into their businesses. There are also regional disparities in AI adoption across Spain, and of course, there's always the competition from the big AI powerhouses like the US and China.
So, plenty to keep them busy. What do you think the future holds for AI in Spain?
Well, the short-term outlook is very positive. The AI Strategy 2024 is being implemented, ALA 40B is opening up new possibilities, and Mare Nostrum 5 will continue to get even more powerful. We can expect to see a lot more practical applications of AI in areas like healthcare, government services, and business.
So, continued growth and innovation.
Yes, but in the longer term, some bigger challenges will need to be addressed. The demand for AI talent will only increase, the ethical and societal implications of AI will become more complex, and Spain will need to navigate a rapidly changing global AI landscape.
Exciting times, but also some potentially tricky waters to navigate. This has been a fascinating discussion. And of course, this report comes from University 365, which calls itself the Applied AI University. How does Spain's approach to AI align with the university's mission?
Well, it aligns perfectly. We're all about making sure that people have the skills they need to thrive in the age of AI.
Practical, real-world skills.
Exactly. And our unique educational approach, known as UNO-P, or University 365 Neuroscience-Oriented Pedagogy, along with our AI-integrated learning tools like UCopilot, are designed to do just that. In fact, the report we've been discussing is a direct product of University 365's commitment to understanding and disseminating knowledge about AI. We want to make our students irreplaceable in the face of AI disruption.
That's a powerful message. So as we wrap up, what are the key takeaways for our listeners about Spain's AI journey?
Well, the main thing is that Spain is a serious player in the global AI landscape, and they're doing things their own way. They're focused on using AI for good, they're committed to linguistic diversity, and they're taking the ethical implications of AI very seriously. They have a clear vision, and they're making it happen.
A model for others to follow, perhaps?
Potentially.
And a final thought for our listeners to ponder as they go about their day.
Think about this. How might Spain's emphasis on democratizing AI and promoting multilingualism shape the future of AI accessibility and inclusivity on a global scale?
A very thought-provoking question. Well, if you want to learn more about this, we highly recommend checking out the full Spain's AI Landscape March 2025 report, which is available on the University 365 website. You can also find a ton of other great resources there on AI, neuroscience, and other future-focused topics. It's clear that AI is changing the world, and staying informed and adaptable is more important than ever. And it sounds like University 365 is doing a great job of helping people do just that. Anna, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insights.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners, thanks for tuning into this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.